What's up, Sink Pissers? Josh from the Clearing Waiver podcast coming at you for another week of the podcast. We appreciate you joining us on this fine evening, day, morning, what have you. We appreciate you coming. Tonight, we've got Brian and Rance and Kitty back with us for a special. It's Thanksgiving time, baby. Thanksgiving week. We all got our stretchy pants on already in preparation. So we're very excited for Thanksgiving. So we got some fun shenanigans themed around Thanksgiving. Before we do that, we're going to clear some waivers. We're going to talk about that Chiefs and Raiders game. We're going to talk about a little bit of the Thanksgiving Day slates and some of the bets coming off of those. And then we'll kind of talk about a little bit about one move that we would like the Royals to make this offseason to make it a little bit better. But before we do that, check in with you guys. How was your week, Brian?
Oh, it was great. As you can see in the background, if you're watching on video, we've already got Christmas trees up in the house.
Yeah, buddy.
We're going to skip right past through Thanksgiving, I guess, and just go right on to Christmas. I don't know.
I mean, 2020, all bets are off at this point. we need to generate some joy in our lives. So I totally, and I'm a big Christmas guy anyway, so I'm certainly not judging you for it.
You were up on November 1st, Josh.
November 1st, baby.
Yeah.
Christmas was done. That calendar was in November, and I was in Christmas mode. Also, Kitty, how was your week, man?
It's been good. Just kind of same old. Still hitting the golf course on the weekend.
Are you, man?
Just barely warm enough for us, and so we're taking advantage of. I mean, nothing else to do, so I figured I'd just gonna keep golfing as long as we can.
Yep.
One of our buddies has the cart cover and a small space heater, so his cart's a solid 65, 70 degrees inside his cart. So you can.
Everybody's fighting to get in his car.
I was gonna say,
Exactly.
what's the protocol to figure out who gets in there?
You're in luck if you can match up with him.
Whoever's
That's like
paying green fees.
Adulting. Yeah. That's when you know you're an adult.
Yep, it really is.
Well, shout out to that, buddy, because well done on your setup. Rance, how was your week, man? Welcome back.
Yeah, feels good to be back. Got some time off. Got the kids through school Monday and Tuesday. Got my gingerbread man, candy cane, and football pajama pants on, and
oh my
I
God.
probably won't change out of them for the next 3 days. So it's going to be good.
I like your style. I like your style as well. Brian's got a Christmas tree, and those pants sound fantastic. If the clearing waivers was a pajama pant, that'd probably be it.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Probably be it. So yeah, let's jump into it. First, we got to hear that sweet theme song.
We're clearing the waivers.
So, Chiefs Raiders played Sunday Night Football. Wasn't the 50-point victory lap motorboating or boat racing that we all kind of thought was coming. But, a win is a win, whatever. They won 35-31 with a MVP type of drive down the stretch. I think he had a minute and a half. They had a minute and a half to score. They got in with 30 seconds to spare or something like that. Pretty efficient from the fellas. But to me personally, it kind of felt like a big brother, little brother situation. Brian, you could tell me how this makes you feel, being the bully. I mean, big brother that you are. It seems like just like a big brother, just smacking the shit out of them for years at video games. And then that one time the little brother has a moment where he just takes the big brother to the woodshed. And so they get real pumped up about it. And it's just years and years of pent up frustration and gloating just smacked right in the older brother's face. And then we had a rematch, and then it came right back down to earth, and all the cycles and frustration started over again. So I guess, Brian, as the Chiefs in our analogy here, how did you feel about this win?
Well, hand up. I did not see it playing out this way. I said the best bet was Chiefs were going to kill them in game 2. I, along with many others, thought that first game was just a matter of the Raiders caught them napping, and it was kind of fluky, and they weren't probably that good, and the Chiefs were going to just be fully focused this week and put them to bed, and that was just not the case. The Raiders played a great game, credit to them. I think if it showed anything to me, what stuck out to me was ever since Mayock and Gruden came on the job, they recognized that the Chiefs were king of this division, and I feel like they've put in hours upon hours upon hours in the offseason building personnel, building scheme to play the Chiefs, to beat the Chiefs. Then when they think about bringing on a guy, drafting a guy, when they think about how they're going to play defense, they always have in the back of their mind, is this going to help us beat the Chiefs? Because they know the Chiefs are at the Kings. They've won the past 4 years of the division. They're the team to beat. And they've put together really good game plans against the Chiefs, and they know our weaknesses well, and they just keep attacking it, and they're not stubborn enough to try to be cute and do other stuff. They keep attacking that weakness, make us change our defense that we saw. I mean, Darren Waller, my God, he's their best player by far, and we just refused for so long to put a guy on him that could actually cover him potentially. We saw him beat Sorensen right off the bat. We saw him throw it out to the flats, and we know Tyrann Mathieu just refuses to tackle anyone that's bigger than him. He's going to try to either punch the ball out or try to wrestle you until somebody else can come help him clean up. Because he just completely whiffed on that tackle out in the flat, and you saw him.
Or which one of the four? That's
I know, man.
Several.
Yeah. And I guess Spagnuolo loves the guy. He's not asking him to change his game in any way. So I guess we're just going to go about it a different way. But I think the Raiders knew that going into the game, that Sorensen can't keep up with him, and Mathieu is not going to tackle him. He's going to have to defend him well. And if he doesn't do that, then he's going to get a first down every time. So, I mean, I think, like I said, I think offensively, the Raiders did a great job game planning. You could hear Carr effectively audibling at the line. I mean, all those crazy ass audibles.
God, and
notably when he said James Harden.
Yeah,
James Harden.
Yeah.
What was it? Not more obvious that's going to the left.
Yeah.
What else could it be?
Something else I noticed. I rewatched it today, and there was a couple times where he's like, "I need you, Henry."
Yeah.
And guess who he threw it to?
Well, that's not true. A lot of times when he said,
absolutely is true.
A lot of times when he said that, a guy had to go in motion towards him. That's usually, they pointed at. They even said that in the broadcast.
Yeah.
That's what that meant.
But both the times that he called out Waller one time, he called out Henry one time, or Henry Ruggs, and he threw it to them. That's both times.
Well, I don't think it's that obvious, Josh.
It was. I saw it.
He was calling them in motion. Go back and watch the game.
I seen it. I saw it today. I seen it, Brian. It was
maybe he was so confident he knew. Maybe he just knew.
Right.
Well, he
that's
saw what stupid freaking bum Sorensen was probably tailing those two idiots, and then well, this is an easy play.
Yeah,
if playing man to man, and Sorensen's
man to man, Sorensen's falling
He's
around.
Babe Ruth in it. He's like, I'm going there.
I mean, that's the thing, though. They made the comment both on the broadcast, and I was watching the Outside the Trenches live watch party with old BJ Kissel and Ken Swanson. And friend of the podcast, Craig Stout, they had a couple other, Jeff Allen's in there quite a bit, and they both talked about how comfortable Derek Carr was in the pocket. So, I mean, that just goes to show you how comfortable he was, where he was potentially calling a shot before some big-ass plays.
No doubt about it. And they talked about in the broadcast when they do their homework, talking to Gruden, how Carr basically he's reprogrammed him to think like Gruden and read the defense. He gets up there. They have basically two calls, in the huddle called, and he got out there and he killed it a bunch of times. And it was pretty obvious. You could look at the front of the defense and see what he was audibling to, because we'd have three guys shaded to the right and Frank Clark alone to the left. I wonder what they're going to, their guys. So, I mean, I was surprised they didn't switch more stuff up after he made the audible call, maybe shift the line or something, maybe do something.
They were doing that at the end of the game. I did see them jump and pile in a little bit there at the those big plays down the stretch. Yeah,
and I think another thing you saw different was because they kept attacking Mathieu in the box, and all of a sudden we can't trust Juan Thornhill, I guess, after the game.
He's a situational guy now.
We
Brian.
saw Badger playing in the deep safety position, which is not a position that I don't think Spagnuolo wants him to be playing. He'd rather him be up in the line, helping guys get in position and calling out plays. And so he was scrambling, making changes on the fly that I don't think he was real comfortable with. And I think if anything we can learn from this game is Spagnuolo's got to take a long look in the mirror, because the Raiders have figured out his defense for the most part. And I mean, you better do some self-scouting, I feel like, because there's a lot of teams that are paying attention to what the Raiders have been doing to this team, on top of how we've seen teams have success against them.
Right.
But, I mean, starting with the pass rush, they generated zero pass rush.
Zero.
Yep. And they kind of – when we first traded for Frank Clark, there was like these videos going around, highlights of him abusing Colton Miller in the left tackle position when he was in Seattle, and he was just a turnstile. I mean, he was just abusing that guy. And I don't know what he's done, is studying Frank Clark or whatever, but a lot of times he beat him one-on-one a lot last night, just handled it himself and just dominated him. And that allows them to double team Chris Jones. And the other guys weren't really making plays. And so
say Okafor was apparently back, and I didn't notice him at all.
Right. Yeah. They got to get that figured out because, I mean, we're going to talk about going to Tampa next. They got to figure out how to get pressure on because they can't do that going forward and expect to be Super Bowl contenders. That's a big problem for them going in. If that's going to be a continuing trend, if they can't get any pressure on the quarterback, they're screwed because, I mean, we saw them not get pressured. He didn't hold on to the ball all that long, and he was still getting wide open. Nelson Aguilar, for God's sakes. I mean, this guy's not an all-pro receiver. This is a guy the Eagles said, get the hell out of our lives, and they have no receivers.
Yep.
And
they had 8 possessions all night. They scored on 5 of them. One of them was the game-ending interception, and then the other 2 were stalled out because of Nelson Aguilar drops.
Yeah. They definitely helped us out.
Thank God for that Nelson Aguilar stone hands.
They left plays on the field for sure. I mean, the fullback dropped a wide open pass as well. They had plays out there they can look back on and say, we could have won that game. So Raiders played a pretty close to perfect game. I thought they did have some penalties. They did have some bad drops, but I think for the most part, they didn't really outside of that one interception in the game, obviously. But that just felt like it was, destined to happen. It was going to happen that way. But when we were talking to Tucker Franklin a couple weeks ago, we were talking about we learned more from like Carolina in that Carolina Panthers game and how close they were to actually being, legitimately contenders if they're not already there. And I kind of felt that same way about the Raiders this week. We all kind of wrote off the last loss to them as kind of like a fluke, like you said, but it sure seems like now it seems like the Raiders are for real. And like you said, they are kind of using every pick that they had in the Khalil Mack trade, which I think has run out finally. They've actually done stuff, and you're right. They have kind of gathered up personnel just to come at the giant, which, I mean, that's what the Chiefs were doing to the Patriots in that couple weeks or a couple years ago. Brought in Spagnuolo, who was the Tom Brady and the Belichick color. So, I mean, it's going to happen when you're the mark. You're always going to be the target to get up there. So, the other thing that kind of jumped out to me is a good team played a near perfect game, and the Chiefs still brought it home. I think that's very important. We can complain about the pass rush. We could talk about how they kind of underachieved, whatever. But the fact of the matter is that they still beat a good team that played a damn near perfect game. And I think that's actually not nothing at all. I think that's definitely something to do. To add on to that point, the Chiefs had 10 penalties in the game, which doesn't happen that often. It was for 89 yards, but that was uncharacteristic of the team, I felt like. And to add to that point, Dave Tobe, I thought we had this chat already in the office, buddy. The opening kickoff of the game, Butker sends it through the uprights. I'm thinking, all right, he got the message. No more cutesy tootsie bullshit. And then I see the second kickoff. They try this little pooch coffin corner kick that goes out of bounds, and they start on the 40 fucking yard line. And I wanted to go down there and fire him myself because he is killing this team, and he's having guys bring the ball out of the end zone, which in my unofficial statistics say 50% of the time is a penalty. About 40% of the time, you don't make it to the 25 without a penalty. One out of every 400, you return it for a touchdown. Stop bringing it out of the fucking end zone. Just take the knee. It's driving me insane. You have the best offense in the world. You don't need to try to scratch for 5 extra fucking yards on special teams. Knock it off.
Do you need a pen and paper to write yourself a letter, or are you just going for it?
Apparently? No, I want him to be gone, Josh. This is
fun.
This is basic shit.
Hey, to stick with special teams, Butker was 5 for 5 on PATs. So,
all right,
Butker's fixed.
No more
yips.
Is
fixed, everyone. That bye week, he had some self reflection and he fixed it. But yeah, those are the kind of takeaways. Kitty and Rance, did you guys have anything from this game at all?
I think you covered it for me.
Okay. Are you just downtrodden from?
I was about to scream about the special teams coach too. So
tip for your tongue.
I was gonna say you seemed a little bit subdued after your big loss this week.
Yeah, I'm done.
Poor Joe Burrow, man. That looks
Football's
so bad.
Stupid.
Sickening.
Yep.
I mean,
get well soon, Joe Burrow.
I mean, how do you just it just they don't seem to give a shit that they have a franchise quarterback back there because they decide, offensive line, we'll do that. We'll fix it later.
Sure.
And we'll throw 50 times.
Yeah, and then we'll
That's the
pass
other thing.
against the best, probably maybe the best defensive line in football. We're going to
Yep.
throw it 29 times before he gets hurt. I mean,
Yep. Well, they didn't have
playing right
Mixon.
in-
You're
no
gonna
Joe
give
Mixon,
Gio Bernard a bunch of carries?
I wouldn't give him a bunch of carries, but you got to give him some more than probably the 3 or
Mhm.
4 him and P. Ryan were getting in that first half. So
You know,
Jesus.
just
Rance,
seems
did you have
just
any
short-sighted.
comments about the Chiefs and Raiders at all?
I mean, what Brian was saying, I think having one QB hit and no sacks is alarming.
Yeah.
I mean, I watched the game just like you guys did, and they never really even got close to him, honestly.
Mhm.
I
They
mean,
flushed him a couple times, but yeah,
but
it
not
was
much.
never-
I mean,
yeah.
and when you get into the playoffs, I mean, Carr played excellent, but you're going to be coming against some other top-notch QBs,
Right.
and they're going to get absolutely picked apart if you can't produce a pass rush.
And I think some of that, we were talking about Waller earlier, and people talk about Kelsey being a matchup nightmare. And I could probably make a case. I think there's a case to be made that Waller's actually a tougher matchup because I feel like he's a lot faster than Kelsey is. I think Kelsey's more of a polished route runner. Shut up, Brian.
What the hell kind of podcast are we running here?
He's good. Waller's good. He's probably
think-
the second best tight end in the league
I think
unless
so,
Kittle
too.
is
Kittle,
healthy.
yeah. But I think there's not a safety that
He's
can
good.
match up with him. Not one. And I'm not saying that there is for Kelsey, but I feel like Kelsey is not as fast. He's a better route runner. He's better at dropping into zone coverage than Waller is. But when Waller has the ball and has space, he's more of a threat than Kelsey is.
Moving along.
Just saying. Just saying.
I can't
Kelsey
believe
is
you're
the-
saying this.
Kelsey's the best tight end
Jesus.
in football, gonna be the best ever made. But I'm telling you, I think Waller is a little bit more dangerous in open field at this point. Is my only my only gripe here.
In the open field?
Yeah,
Okay.
You don't think he's good, Brian?
I'm not even saying that. I just
Why
can't
do you-
believe I'm listening to a Chiefs homer preach about how great Darren Waller is. I think he's a very fine tight end. I think you're probably right that he's in the discussion for tight end 2 or 3 or 4 in the league. But don't get it twisted. Travis Kelce's the king of tight ends right now.
I don't think I said he wasn't.
Well, I don't like what you're saying right now. I don't like you giving any credit to any Raiders.
I don't like what you're saying at all.
This is a big brother
Interesting.
telling you shut up about that
I
little
know
brother.
it really is. This is what I grew up on. This is the kind of
flashbacks
abuse.
right here.
I come out so well rounded, quite literally. Look at me. But this is the kind of abuse I put up with my entire life.
The more they become a competitive rival again, the less I want to give them credit. Let's just say that.
Sure. And that's just speaks how much I don't feel like they're on our level yet, Brian.
All right.
Let's stick with the Chiefs for a little bit longer. See if we can put Rance and Kitty completely to sleep real quick. But Brian, you did mention that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are the next ones up. They had a pretty solid game against the Rams last night, did not pull it out. The scouting report versus Tom Brady has always been the same. You get pressure on them and you can start forcing some bad throws. And that Rams front line is stellar.
Good. That defense is good.
Just so
Mhm.
stout. I don't think the Chiefs are on the Rams level at that. I know they're not on the same level as the pass rush comes. At least they haven't been. They've had 2 sacks in the last 3 games. And those games have been the Carolina Panthers, the New York Jets, and the Oakland Raiders. That's not great. But despite all that, Kansas City is a 3.5-point favorite. Last I saw, the over-under is a 56. Personally, I'm sticking with my preseason pick that the Buccaneers are the 2019 Cleveland Browns, who went 7-9. Unfortunately, the Buccaneers are 7-4, so they're
They
going to have
gotta
to lose
lose
out. But good thing they have Kansas City, Minnesota, Atlanta, Detroit, and Atlanta left. They probably don't win any of those. So I think I'm sticking with that. But I think the Chiefs cover this. I think they win 38-34, and the over hits obviously. But Brian, what are you thinking about this matchup?
All right. Well, I think a part of that too that we saw last night was I think the Tampa offensive line stinks still. It was a big part of the reason why Winston turned it over a lot last year. I think it's a big reason why Tom's turned it over. I think I saw 9 picks so far this season, which was more than he had all of last year.
Yeah, that's right.
So I mean, that's a huge reason why when you watched him last night too, it wasn't just the pressure. His deep ball is just getting worse and worse.
Yes,
And I want to knock on wood so bad because I mean, it's going to bite us in the ass this week. He's going to
He'll
burn us
throw
over the
5
top.
touchdowns.
All deep balls over the top of our defense. But I mean, watching him, it's just not the same. He still tries to check it down a ton. His connection with Gronk is kind of not looking as great. It looked like it was building back to what it was, and Gronk's not really getting the separation that he used to. At least what we saw last night. So, I mean, I hope we need the defense to look much better than they did against Raiders. That's for sure. But it's definitely a declining Tom Brady, and we got to get some pressure on him, even if we got to get that cohesion back in that group, whether it needs bringing some blitzes or whatever it is. We have got to get pressure, and namely up the middle against Brady. That's always been the recipe. Get it up the middle against him because he doesn't like to get out of that pocket. They've got some weapons, and we can't really just skim over that because what we did see last night was his rapport with Antonio Brown is getting better and better.
Yep.
And when he's your wide receiver 3, you got to pay attention to that kind of shit because we lack cornerbacks and top end cornerbacks. The Rams have pretty good quarterback. If you saw last night, for the most part, if they could, they had Ramsey basically playing one-on-one against Mike Evans, and then they bracketed Godfrey a lot and then forced Antonio Brown to be his guy one-on-one. I think that's why you saw a lot of Antonio Brown work early.
Yeah,
that's not a thing the Chiefs do because we don't have a shutdown corner. So he's going to be able to have the liberty of going to whatever read the reads take him to. So it's going to be interesting to see how they attack the defense of ours because it's much different than what the Rams showed him last night. And I just think the pressure is the key. I think the offense is going to be there. They're going to show up. I think it is important to get Sammy Watkins back this week because we saw 2 nights ago, Demarcus Robinson let us down big time in that game. He had some major mental mistakes. And
he also made some really good plays. Are you going to get mad at me for saying something contrary to you?
No, because it's talking about a Chiefs player. You're talking up a Chiefs player, Josh.
Yeah, DeMarcus Robinson was a very high-low game for him because he made some crazy catches and he made some really bad mistakes as well.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, only they know what happened on that interception at the goal line. Yep. It seemed like Mahomes expected him to come back instead of fading out. If they score a touchdown there, we may be talking about a completely different game because the Chiefs got that ball. That was in my brain the whole time when we had that ball to end the first half. If we can score a touchdown here, we get the ball in the second half. If we can score there, maybe they give up. We can put them to bed. That didn't happen. That didn't happen. So I think getting Sammy back could be huge because he put such a strain on the defense as being basically the third best weapon in the passing game. And shout out to Clyde, man. Clyde looked really good. They had so many guys get in our backfield, and he spun out of it and made something out of it. That's just kind of what he does. So I thought he showed a lot of juice last night. Le'Veon Bell scored a touchdown.
How about that?
Hey,
and looked good on it too.
Get him out in space. That's all I want. Don't just stop running him up the middle.
Now you're getting on the Lev Bell game.
I didn't say that.
Lev Bell boat.
I said I was tired of giving him rushes.
Okay.
They got him out in the space. That's
He's
what I want.
Out there looking like Darren Waller.
But I'm with you, Josh. I think they find a way to win it because they have full attention. I think everybody on the Chiefs knows what they're going up against. And like you said, they got names across the board. That gets you jacked up, especially when you play in a tough game like they just had. Competitive game. There's not going to be a letdown. I don't think they're going to have their full attention. Both teams are going to have their full attention. It's going to be a shootout, I believe.
Yeah. Hopefully it's a wake-up call to that defense. Looked like Chris Jones pretty chippy there after the game, and I saw Tyrann Mathieu sent out a tweet saying like, I felt like shit. My boys picked me up and stuff. So I don't know what that was about, but obviously he wasn't on top of his game and he didn't really play like it. But it could be a wake-up call. I mean, this defense is, especially the generals at the top, are more chippy, and when they get that chip on the shoulder, whatever that saying is, when they get chippy, they start getting bearing down and start getting real mad and playing mad. So I'm here for it. It's a good week to start doing that. Week 12, no time like the present, but we'll see what happens here. Let's move on. Kitty, Rance, you guys awake?
Still here. Yeah, I was actually. I saw something on Twitter where there was I don't know which former quarterback it was, but he was breaking down that Robinson play at the goal line And
Orlovsky.
according to,
Yep.
I don't know. I don't think it was him. It was somebody else. But
Orlovsky
according
did
to that,
one too.
it's that ball is thrown at the receiver's head. The receiver Robinson, you're not supposed to cut in. You're supposed to cut back, come back to the quarterback on that. So
Stay on your stem.
Yep.
Is what Orlovsky
according
said.
to that. So basically, every armchair quarterback on Twitter was saying Robinson blew that route. So.
Well, I did see Patrick did say something like me and DeMarcus had a little miscommunication, so it sounded like it was credible.
That's
but
a
either
quarterback blaming the wide receiver
Right.
without blaming the wide receiver.
Yeah, it is.
He knows.
Sure is.
Exactly.
Well, like we said, this Thursday, you might be listening to it on the way to some family, but this Thursday is Thanksgiving. We got 3 games per usual. This time last week, it was looking like a real gross slate. I was not looking forward to any of these games except for the Baltimore-Pittsburgh. But now that old Andy Dalton's back at the helm, that Washington-Dallas game might be a little wily. And then Houston and the Detroit game just might turn into a barn burner. But we'll have to see how that goes. But I'm going to start with rants here. I'm going to kind of go around each one of you. We got the slates, the spreads, and the over-under totals here. Kind of give me your thoughts on what you're taking here. And we're going to keep track of who does what here. And the loser's going to have some punishment for next week, and it's going to be a doozy. So we're going to start with Rance. Rance, hit us with this. Houston is 2.5-point favorites at Detroit. Over under 51. What do you got?
I'm taking Houston at -2.5. They look pretty good against New England. I mean, Detroit, good God almighty, getting shut out on the road against a backup quarterback at Carolina. I mean, when is what's his name just be done with Patricia, for God's sakes? Detroit's good one week, they're horrible the next. I mean, they just can't seem to always put it together. I mean, Stafford, he didn't without them having Kenny Galladay has killed him. He's their best receiver by far. Not a lot of weapons. Swift did not play at Carolina. He may not play again on Thursday.
Did I see he practice today? Like he was back at practice today. Is what I saw.
Was he?
Yeah, it might have been limited, but
sure.
Limited.
I mean, I know he's coming off a concussion, and those are always hit or miss. You just never know.
Yep.
Deshaun Watson, I just think it'll be too much. I mean, I think it'll be a little too much. I think it's going to be a close game, but I like Houston at the -2.5, and I'll take the under too.
Under. Okay.
But barely. Probably be around like 48 or something
48.
like that.
I like that call. Kitty, what do you got?
Yeah, the injuries, like Rand said, they're brutal when you lose your best running back and best wide receiver. I mean, it took the Lions and Matt Patricia 8 weeks to realize DeAndre Swift was better than Adrian Peterson. So that right there should already be an indictment on the guy. He should not have a freaking job in the NFL. If you guys can't figure that out at this point in your careers. So
I cannot believe he's still there. Getting shut out against the Panthers. 2-3 weeks ago, we were talking about the Panthers having the worst defensive DVOA in the league. They go shut out.
It's bad.
Ugh.
Right. So, I mean, it's just I'd like to know if those guys are going to be back, but just with limited practice on Tuesday, and Galladay apparently didn't practice at all today. So I figure he's probably still out for sure. And Swift is probably a game at
time,
best maybe, and a game time. He might not, even if Swift he does play, he might not be full set of carries for him. So I'm going to agree with Rance. I'm going to go with Houston, but I'm going to go with the over.
Okay.
Feel like, I don't know, maybe it's just because I'm betting the over here, but I feel like a lot of these Detroit early games turn into real barn burners and shootouts and just up and down the field. So I'm going to hope that trend continues and go with Houston -2.5 and the over.
Okay. Wasn't Stafford out with COVID the week or so before that too? He
missed practice, but he still played.
He missed a whole week of practice, but had 3 negative tests and then played. He hasn't missed.
His thumb's been bothering him too a little
He's
bit.
got torn ligaments in his thumb, but not completely torn like Drew Brees had, they said, where he had to have surgery or something.
Yeah. Wasn't that what's his name? Jacksonville, the Gardner Minshew's ligaments torn in his thumb too, right? That was his issue.
Could be. I probably
you're the Minshew guy here.
I know. I should know.
He's finished. He's never going to play again in Jacksonville.
Jake Luton mania now. Minshew's old news. Give me
Dead
Luton.
to him.
Luton free. For free Luton. Brian, where are you at on this game?
I'm with these guys. I think the Texans are a better team than the record indicates. They had a horrible schedule to start the year. I think they're actually a pretty good team, and they've got a really good quarterback. So give me Houston 2.5, and I have the over. I think your best bet last week, Josh Logic, was correct, but the Lions just let you down. I think there's going to be a lot of points in this game. The Lions are usually terrible on Thanksgiving, but they seem to score points, but they just give up a ton of them. I don't know if you guys remember last year, the game against the Bears where David Blau came out of nowhere and scored like 3 touchdowns in the first half. They're not counting on David Blau, whatever his name was, this year. So I think they're going to score some points, but it's not going to be enough in the end. Texans in the over.
Okay. Pretty much the same way as you guys. I went Houston minus 2.5. All the same reasons. I'm going to take the under 51, and I'm predicting Houston wins 50-0. Out of spite because of what the Lions did to me last week. Purely out of spite.
Oh, that's funny.
Going Houston minus 2.5 and the under 51. Next game, Rance's Cowboys. You're going to go last here. I'm going to start us off. Washington football team at the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys are 2.5-point favorites. Over under is 47.5. And the thought of picking Dallas as a favorite this season just feels gross. This is kind of the primetime nap game. It's not going to be very fun to watch, and it's going to be right after lunch. So you get your nap right in, get you rolling for that Pittsburgh and Baltimore game later in the night. I'm going to take Washington plus 2.5 and the under 47.5 points. Let's go in reverse order. Brian, you're next.
I'm there with you. I got to go Washington football team. Alex Smith. Let's go, baby. I think the defensive line for Washington's going to give Dallas fits all day. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. It's going to be one that you wish you didn't watch. And like you, Josh,
you smug pricks.
Nope, you save it. I want you to take this beating because you've missed every other time that we've got to take a shot at Cowboys.
You jackasses.
Take it.
I think it will be a disgusting game to watch, and it may be like 17-13. But I think at the end, Washington wins. Washington the under.
I got a final score of 17-10 predicted, so we're right there with you. Yep. Kitty, go ahead and do some more Cowboy bashing, please.
I mean, I don't think I need to lay any more on to Rance here after what my team went through this weekend. So I need to just
Supportive.
keep my head down and move through. After both our franchise QBs took some lower body injuries, don't need to pile on.
Sure.
So I just hard to take Dallas as a favorite this year. So I'm gonna go with Washington as well, and I'm taking the under. I think we're all expecting. So now after these picks, Dallas is gonna win 45-15.
Yeah, they are.
Like
No question.
We're ripping into them so
5
much.
touchdowns.
That's right.
The funnest part about this is like halfway through Brian's explanation, I look at Rance and he just looks so disgusted. So when you guys watch this back or hear this back, you'll be able to tell exactly when I look at his face. It's very fun. Rance, your time to shine.
I'm just scribbling through my paper. I just made a hole through it. Just wishing it was you two guys just grinding it in there. I know Dallas sucks. I know they suck. I believe me, I haven't picked them to win a game since they beat the Giants when the rifle brought him back, when Dak broke his leg. That was the last time I picked them to win. Okay. But they look like a decent team against Philadelphia. Turned Wentz over 4 times, which I know happens a lot. But they had a 4th-string quarterback. They played Pittsburgh closer than anybody's played them all year with another 4th-string quarterback. They go to Minnesota, who've been playing fairly hot, get a win. The rifle looks like fresh out of COVID, fresh off a concussion. He looks like he's clear-minded. He looked great. He looked great. Dallas moves Zach Martin to right tackle. Zeke runs for over 100 yards for the first time this year. I'm taking the Cowboys, but by a field goal. It's going to be probably 24-21, 23-20, something like that. I'm taking the under 2. they'll get the dog shit beat out of them.
I don't think Washington's capable of beating the dog shit out of them.
This is
I
for
don't-
the
yeah.
division lead, boys.
At
Division
4-7,
lead at
here
4
we
and
go.
7.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, like you said, I don't think Alex Smith and the Redskins offense is in any shape to put a butt whipping on somebody.
Plus,
so.
McLaren's got a bum ankle, so
Oh, didn't know that.
It's one of their only weapons.
I
Well,
know.
if he's out,
They've
if he's
got
out, that'd be huge.
they've got that dual horse tandem between McKissick and Antoine Gibson. That's not nothing. It's pretty deadly
they've been
combo.
pretty good. McKissick's been pretty good in a PPR fantasy league.
Yep,
He'll
especially
get you
when
10,
Alex
12
Smith's-
points.
Yep. Alex Smith's going to throw the ball to him 7 times a game by himself. Antonio Gibson's got a couple 100-yard games. I think 2 weeks in a row, maybe 3 weeks, something like that.
He scored 4 touchdowns in his last 5 games, and they trucked Dallas and Washington.
Yep.
Gibson, they ran for over 100 yards in the first half. So, ugh.
I like it. Well, let's get to the main event here, and I'm going to start in the AFC North. Our AFC North guy, Kitty.
Yep.
He's the one who knows the AFC North better than all of us. We got
Yeah,
Baltimore Ravens at what? Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You're sorry.
Okay. We got Baltimore Ravens at the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are 10-0, going for 11-0. They are the 3.5-point favorites. Over-unders at 46. So I'm wondering about the weather all of a sudden. But Kitty, I'm gonna start with you. What's your picks here?
So, I mean, I've watched both of these teams kick the shit out of my Bengals, so I know them pretty well.
Yep.
Yeah. It's hard to 3.5. This game seems to be always a field goal. I think it was 4 points earlier this year, and Baltimore ran all over Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they had 230 or so yards of rushing on the Steelers last time.
That was the Dobbins 100-yard game, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then Gus Edwards had 80 some as well.
Yeah. If Lamar Jackson hadn't turned the ball over like he's known to do in big games, they would have been able to win that one.
Yeah.
But I think Baltimore does the same recipe again, even though they won't have Ingram or Dobbins. I think Gus Edwards can do enough for him back there, and Lamar Jackson himself. I think Baltimore can keep it close, maybe even get a win. So I'm taking Baltimore plus 3.5, and I'm going to go over 46.
Okay. Don't forget about old Justice Hill.
That's right. Yeah, Justice Hill's still back there. So I
He'll
mean,
still be-
they got weapons. They're good. They're not. If the line had moved anyway for running backs being out, that would be ridiculous.
Yes. Yep.
Maybe
I didn't
wait
even
and
see what
if
it opened. Did it move?
See if it moves up any farther
I
off
think
the
it's-
3.5 or anything.
I thought it was. Is it not 5.5 now?
I can
Does
look
it
at
move
Am
it.
I
up?
way off on that? I could have swore I saw that today.
They
Josh,
may
are you
have
looking?
changed it. Yeah,
you
I'm
may have
looking.
saw
It's at
opening lines.
5 now.
Oh, even better. Give me 5 points.
It opened at 4.5, and now it's 5 for the Steelers. Yeah, so let's do this on the fly. You still
All
like
right.
Baltimore plus 5, or you?
You give them an extra point. and a half.
Now I'm off. I'm off. Too many points. Disrespect. I stick with Baltimore in the over.
Okay. Well, I got all this. It actually does change me in my lines here. I think it's also going to be a good game. I did some digging here. Pittsburgh is currently 26-23 against the Ravens. Mike Tomlin is 13-14 against Baltimore as a career. Over the last 13 years, which is how long Tomlin's been there, when their first meeting of the season is decided by 4 points or less, the second meeting is also 4 points or less. That's happened 6 out of 7 times.
Good
So,
stat.
yep. So give me, since it was at 3.5, and I was going to take Baltimore plus 3.5. I'm taking probably Pittsburgh at this point to cover. So I'm changing on the fly. I'm going Pitt to cover the 5.
After all those stats, you
Wait,
gave.
no, that's not what I'm doing. Flip-flop, snip, snap, snip, snap. Give me. Yeah, I'm also taking Baltimore plus 5. There it is. And I'm going to go over 46 as well. I think they'll both of them combined, their offensive score about 56.6 points a game, and their defense combined only allows 36.9. I think it's right there in the middle, and they barely get the over. So that's where I'm at. Brian?
I mean, everything about this screams taking Pittsburgh, right? I mean, Baltimore's struggling with COVID. Pittsburgh already beat them once on the road. Pittsburgh's on a roll. But this just feels like it's one of those games the Ravens are just going to win it. I mean, not just cover the 5. I feel like the Ravens are going to win this game.
Mhm.
What do they say about a scared animal in the corner or a desperate animal in the corner? You never back them into a corner. I
Yep.
feel like the Ravens are there. The Steelers are probably feeling themselves a little bit, even though it's a rivalry game. They're not going to overlook them. I don't think they're desperate like the Ravens are. I think you're going to see a very motivated and a very angry Ravens team. Like Kitty said, they've got the blueprint. They saw what they got away from that was working in the first game. I think if they can just continue to punish them like that, they can win this game. And I'm going to take Baltimore. Give me the 5. Sprinkle that money line if you'd like. And the under. I got the under. I think it's going to be a sloppy just slug match. And it's going to be low scoring. Steelers are going to get a wake-up call.
The over-under is now at 44.5, but we'll just keep it we'll just take it up to 46 that we were talking about.
Yep.
Because I'm making up the rules as I go, clearly.
I love it.
Grants,
I love it.
where's your head at for this game?
I'm kind of like with Brian, what he said. I mean, Baltimore, I know, is dealing with COVID. I guess if they play it, I mean, I don't know. I think that could be up in the air, but I don't know. I think the NFL's, no matter what, how many positive tests they have, I think they're going to play.
Yep.
Me too.
It don't matter if 15 guys from Baltimore test positive. I think they're going to play that game.
I agree.
I'm going to take Baltimore just because if they lose, I think their season's done. As far as, I mean, could they
It's on
still
the
make
ropes
the
for
playoffs?
sure.
Yes, but they're going to have to go on the road. They're going to have to play some really tough teams on the road. I mean, they're desperate for a win. Steelers are going to have a letdown somewhere along the line. They've played a lot of close games. They really haven't played that tough a schedule either.
No,
when
they haven't.
they've beaten Washington and the Giants and Dallas and Jacksonville.
Cowboys.
I said that. I said
Okay.
Dallas. Before you opened your pothole, I already said that. Oh man, it feels good to be back. You
Not
guys
gonna let that-
waste no time just running me through the coals.
we got to make up for some lost time with you, bud.
I'm taking Baltimore. I'm taking Baltimore to cover, and I'm going to take the over. I'm going to take the over. I don't think that Baltimore defense has not been that great. I mean, they've been pretty good at times, but they have given up a lot of points at times. I mean, so I think it's going to be the over on that.
It is a lot of fun to watch Derrick Henry run through that secondary. Because this came up in the playoff game last year. Brian and I were talking about watching Marcus Peters try to tackle Derrick Henry, and I always look for it when he gets loose in the backfield just to see exactly how it goes.
He
Ready
runs the
to
other
fire
way.
off that shit talk tweet.
Yep.
Well, the good news is none of us matched, so that's good. We're gonna have a clear loser, I think, at some point potentially. So that's gonna be fun. I'm gonna figure out what the punishment is. We're gonna do it for everybody on the podcast next week. So everybody look forward to that. Enough football talk. We're gonna get some Royal talk here in just at the very nick of the time. Kind of touch base on a little bit, but it's the off season. Not much is going to happen between now and Thanksgiving. I think after Thanksgiving it might liven up a little bit. The owners and the GM meetings start, and winter meetings start there at the beginning of December, all online this year. So a little bit different there. So it might not be as cooking as it usually is, but there's a little bit of movement going on. We wanted to kind of give the one thing that we want to see out of the Royals in their offseason, whether it's a trade or an extension or a free agent signing, what have you. We just want one thing from each of us here that we want to see from the Royals. So, Kitty, I'm going to start with you. What's your one thing?
I guess my one thing actually for all of baseball, there's no Jeffrey Tubin incident with all these old men on Zoom meetings all freaking day for the winter meetings. So
Sure.
come on, owners. Let's lock it up. Let's keep it together for a few
Now
days
that-
here.
Now that Theo Epstein, he's gone, so he was the best looking one of the bunch. So, I mean, he's not even that rewarding. All these old bastards, old geezers.
So let's hope they can understand how to turn their cameras off if they need to.
Sure.
I kind of was looking around a little bit. I know there's so much young pitching that the Royals have in the pipeline right now, but I feel like I don't know if everything's going to be fall together at the right time. So I was kind of hoping to sign a nice free agent starting pitcher,
Mhm.
someone in this not true like super old veteran, but just kind of like early 30s guy. So like, one of the guys I looked at was kind of like Jake Odorizzi.
Yeah.
He's put up some solid seasons. He won't be. I can't imagine he's super expensive.
Mhm.
Which as a team like the Royals, you kind of have to do a little bit of thrift shopping at that point with a
Right.
free agent pitcher. You can't go up there and throw 25 mil at a guy. So I'd like them to sign, if it's not Odorizzi, someone in that vein where, just a solid starter that can give you the innings and be a nice veteran presence in that locker room for all those young guys that they have
Mhm.
coming up right now.
I was just trying to look up Odorizzi's contract. He got 1 year. Was it the qualifying offer last year? He got 1 year for $17.8 million from the Twins last year.
Woo!
That could have been. That's a little more expensive than I thought he'd be. But
Yeah, me too.
That
Yep.
is.
Prior to that, he was on a 2-year deal with the Twins for like $15 million. So that's about where I figured he was. But yeah, he was on a 17. Is that right? Or did he accept the qualifying offer?
That may be in the qualifying offer then. I mean,
No, he's a free agent. You're right.
The Braves just signed Morton to 1 year,
Charlie
15. That seems
Yeah.
like Odorizzi shouldn't get paid more than him.
Right.
Nope.
That was the option that the Rays declined on him, was $15 million for a year. So I
Yeah.
thought that was interesting.
What are the-
And he got
what-
that same amount from Atlanta,
Yep.
right? Yeah.
What are the
Which
Rays
is-
doing?
That's a hell of a deal for Atlanta. I love
Yeah.
Charlie Morton. I think that staff could be really nasty, especially with him in it now.
The Rays are talking. I heard today that they are open to trading Snell.
That's
Yep.
how they work.
Wow.
Yep.
He's still under contract for 3 years.
Yep.
They've
Seems a
been
bit
very
early.
proactive about trading those guys before the deadline.
They do.
Well, that's the rumor we're going to hear for the next 3 off seasons, because this is
Well-
what the same thing happened with Archer. I mean, he was the hot hand that they had to get out of town. David Price was the guy before that. It's always somebody.
Right. I'm just saying they're not afraid to get rid of those guys
No.
at max value because they know when they have nothing left in their contract, they're only going to get lottery picks. Really.
And most teams should be afraid to trade with them, because whatever they're asking for is
Yes.
probably a pretty good indicator they're going to be
Yep.
good.
Yeah.
They usually do a pretty good job. Yeah.
See the Cardinals and the Pirates who they
Uh-huh.
pillaged.
Whoa, Pirates trade.
Pirates, God.
Pirates trade, man. Rance, what about you? What's the one thing you want the Royals to do this offseason?
I'd like for them to get some outfield help.
Yeah.
I was looking at some guys. I know you guys are the Royals experts, but I was looking at some guys that were free agents and money wise and what they could get them for maybe nothing more than just a couple years, couple year contract. I mean, I saw Jackie Bradley was out there. Jock Peterson's out there. I mean, those guys aren't going to be real expensive. Maybe a couple years, 10 mil per year. I mean, I know Peterson strikes out a lot, but he'd be a great fit in Kansas City. He might hit 30 bombs. He's a free swinger. All those guys strike out, it seems like, in the lineup right now. So
Yeah.
he'd be a good fit. I don't know. It'd really be nice if they could spend some money, and he'll never go there, but Ozuna would be great to have.
I like that a lot too. Yeah.
I'd love to see him.
I was surprised how old he was already.
31.
Yeah, he
Right.
must have broke out late. So yeah, he was 31 already. So
But I was seeing where they, somebody could get him for like 4 years, 72 mil or something like that. I mean,
Yeah.
not an outrageous amount, about 18 million a year. And
Yeah.
He's a hell of a hitter too.
Year.
Right. I didn't think you were going to make it through this outfield section without talking about Alex Gordon one
Well,
more
I
time.
got to get another jab in on him on his way out the door.
The Ozuna, he went to Atlanta for 18 mil last year, I believe. And that
Mhm.
seemed like a hell of a deal. Maybe he took a little bit different 1-year deal that he probably had a few of those and took it in Atlanta just to potentially win one. But yeah, I love his bat so much. I know Brian's a big fan of Ozuna as well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I know he'd be up for that. But yeah, it would be hard to see them sign an outfielder that cannot really play defense very well.
Yeah.
But hey, I mean, they already got Soler, so maybe Ozuna's the heir apparent to the DH throne after he's gone. But Brian, what's your one thing?
I'm right there with Rance. I feel like they've got to address the outfield. I don't think they can afford to go into this year having 2 of the 3 outfield spots be guys, let's see what they can do type positions. We can't do that. We can't have guys like, we're going to throw a Bubba Starling out there and see what he can give us. We just can't do
We
that.
already know, right?
Yes, exactly. So I think the dream for me, the dream signing, I would love the new ownership to come in and throw a bunch of money at George Springer to run the outfield. I don't think that's going to happen. He's going to get paid too much money. So let's be more realistic. Let's just assume we get a guy like Jackie Bradley Jr. in center field. My next move, I'm moving with the second base. Nicky Lopez becomes utility bench player. Right field, I'm bringing in Yasiel Puig, baby.
I knew you're gonna. You're not. I knew you were gonna go for Puig.
I love Puig. He brings an energy every day to the ballpark. Some people, it rubs the wrong way. A lot of people love him. I mean, I've wanted him to play right field for us for years. He almost went the offseason without being signed by anyone. The Braves signed him, and then he got COVID, and I think it hit him pretty hard, and no one ever looked at him after that. He just came out today, actually, and said that he's ready to play again in 2021. When you think about Puig, he started off so hot. He looked like he was going to be a superstar for the rest of his life. And so I think the perception came off that he kind of was a disappointment after that. But if you look at his numbers, his worst season, he had a 98 OPS plus.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a dream come true for a Royals outfielder for us.
Absolutely.
Alice Gordon had a 66 OPS plus this year. We can't afford to be having these outfielders that can't provide anything at the plate. And I think if you could add to this lineup that you've already got, and if you put a guy like Franchi Cordero out in left field where he's still kind of a question mark, we still can see what he's got potential. But if you can put a guy like Jackie Bradley Jr. in, he's a known at this point what you're going to get out of him. He's not going to dominate at the plate, but he's going to be a serviceable player and be a great defensive player in center field. If you can have a guy like Puig out in right field, I mean, he's kind of the equivalent of that we brought in like Michael Franco last year, a guy that showed huge promise early and kind of disappointed. He's probably not going to command a huge contract. And we have got the position for him out there in right field. We have got nobody that's slotted to play out there. We've got at-bats for days, and I would love to give them to Puig and just see what he's got left. If you get him on a 2-year deal, kind of like we got Franco, anywhere in that ballpark, I feel like it's a win-win because we've got guys like Isbell and Khalil Lee that are not quite ready probably. But if you have a year of Puig or a year and a half of Puig and then you trade him, and then those guys are ready to step into that role, I don't see the loss in that situation. I don't see what you have to lose. I would love to bring a guy like Puig and to see him and Salvi interact daily.
Oh yeah,
sign me up for that shit.
Yeah, I was gonna say that Salvi needs a new best friend from the outfield. So.
Absolutely.
What do you think? I mean, you think you could get him like 2 years, 6-7 mil per, or you think you could get him for less than that even?
It's hard to say. I mean, I think his last contract he was making like $9 million with Cleveland.
Well, he's going to have to be less than that, right?
Right.
I think that was arbitration though too.
Yeah. So I mean, I think if you could get him in that kind of a range, I don't know why you don't roll the dice there. I mean, this is a team where their entire pitching staff is super cheap guys, and most of their bats that they have out there now are pretty cheap. Even guys like Salvi that are veterans, Witt's on a super cheap deal. They're not paying anyone that much money, so why not go pay a couple of guys that you know can contribute to your team and see where it falls at the end of the day, because they're not ready right now to fill that outfield with the guys they have and feel confident about that lineup at all. So go find a couple of guys that are proven quantities that aren't going to break the bank and see what happens.
Well, I'm right there with you, but I'm going for it, baby. Give me George Springer. Give me George Springer. Here's what I'm going to do here. So Fangraphs were projecting him to sign a 5-year deal for about $115 million, about $23 million per year. You front load that bad boy. 30 million next year, 28, 25, 17, 15 going through there. That's your 31, 32, 33, 34, and 35-year-old season. They obviously just got done paying Alex Gordon like $4 or $5 million for his age 36 season, so they don't care about that. George Springer has been there. He's been to the mountaintop. He's a culture guy. Maybe that's a little bit of a tainted culture because of 2017 Astros season. But I think he came out of there looking more or less pretty spotless because he's not an asshole about it. He seemed a little bit, regretful for it a little bit. Maybe that's just a perception of him just seeming like a good dude. But I'm ready to pay Springer that money, front loaded, so it's a little bit better value on the back end. Whenever the core pitching comes up, they start getting a little bit more expensive in their ARB years. But I think they could totally make it work. They did come out and we're talking about Dayton Moore's not inhibited by any of the cap situation, or not cap, but like payroll situation. And they're looking at the payroll more of like a 3-year running span. So I think at that point, you can also give him some kind of opt out after that 3rd year. He's made all of the majority of his money. He can walk, or if they're on the upswing, maybe he sticks around and starts taking the rest of that $32 million guaranteed in the last 2 years of his contract. I think at that point, you could probably convince him to stick around, be the leader of this with Witt, with Salvi, with whoever is still stepping up to the plate regularly.
Mondesi.
Mondesi, yeah, that'd be great. That'd be fantastic. You put Springer
Rain
at
second baseman, also in there.
And Nicky will be hitting 30 home runs by then. But I think you put Springer in the leadoff position at this point, and you got Springer, Witt, Dozier, Soler, Salvi, and Franco hitting 1 through 6. And that's not even counting on whatever you're getting from Mondesi at that point. So if that's 7 of your 9
Soler,
lineup
where's
spots,
he?
Yeah, what's
Soler's batting 4th behind Dozier.
You said okay. Let's
Springer, Witt, Dozier, Soler, Salvi, Franco.
now Soler? What is he? What's his contract like? Is he down to his last year?
Last year, yep.
Well, what are they going to do with him?
I don't think
Trade
they'll
him?
extend him. I think they could potentially look at trading him this year. But I mean, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised either way. I'm kind of putting an extension or trading and kind of a 50-50. They're not going to get much for him. I mean,
you wonder what his value is as far as
Right.
what somebody's going to pay him
right.
too. I mean, they could extend him. I could totally see them extending.
I wrote a piece about it for Royals Review last season about what a potential extension would look like. And his track record looks a lot like Chris Davis. And he gets about $10 million per year on that. But
Now,
it's
if they
just
pay
hard to-
Springer, they probably don't extend.
Right.
So
Yes. And at that point, I mean,
And that's fine
I would be
if they
fine
get
with that.
Springer.
Yeah.
Right.
So at this point, let's just go for it. I mean, the impact bat would be there. The lineup gets incredibly better with Springer in it. I think you get a good dude, a good culture dude, a good leader. I think he'd be a good clubhouse guy. I think he would fit in right in with Salvi, kind of like a Locaine situation too. So I am totally in on spending the money and spending John Sherman's money.
I would love that, but they
Why not?
never seem to do that. They
No.
never make big splashes like that.
Nope, not on the free agent market. But
especially with fucking like Steve Cohen coming in with the Mets, it sounds like he's just going to
Yeah.
buy everybody that he can because he can.
which
Good move.
Yeah.
I'll be happy to see that, because then they have to figure out what to do with old Michael Conforto in a couple of years, and if
Bring
if he
him
gets
on.
ousted, then bring him over.
Yep.
I'd love that as well.
So let's
Yeah,
get Springer
it's-
and Puig. Let's just and
Springer, Puig,
Odorizzi.
There we go.
Just
Ready to do it.
spend all the money. But I think, adding Springer also, you don't have to get rid of any of your young arms either. That you're probably gonna end up trading for an impact bat at some point. Why not just pay Springer, and then if you still have that option down the road, or you can just see what happens, and maybe you're starting that nasty 5 in that rotation in a couple seasons.
Yep.
That would be fantastic. Well, guys, we successfully cleared the waivers. It only took about an hour, so that's a great start to the week. Let's get into shenanigans. Let's loosen it up. You guys need to stretch, do some yoga or anything?
Get a drink.
Yep. Per usual, we got the shenanigans starting off with the DFA.
Hope I don't get DFA.
I'm taking this, my question. I came up with it, so you guys can take your shot at this. I'm kind of excited about this one. It took me a little bit to research it, but I'm kind of pretty excited. I need you guys. So I broke down the points per game that offenses in the NFL scored and the points per game that the defenses allow, and created a point differential based upon those two numbers.
Uh-oh.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So the best point differential per game, best point differentials in a game in the NFL. The order I have this week is Brian's going first, then Ranson, and Kitty. So whenever you're ready, fire away.
So okay, you said best point differential. Is this just the biggest point differential?
Yes. Yep.
How many
the
teams?
outfit, the
Yeah,
outfit,
how many-
How many
Top
numbers?
six,
What are we
top
trying to
seven,
get
top
here?
8.
So basically, you're looking at it's a top 10. You're basically looking for the
top 10,
best,
okay.
a great offensive team and a great defensive team as far as points scored.
Okay, I missed you saying top 10.
what'd you say the order was?
Brian, then Rance, and then Kitty.
All right. I'm going to go with one that just comes from recent research. Let's go with the Panthers.
Panthers
the-
not on this list. No,
What?
you understand the question, right?
That would not have been a team I'd ever guess.
They're one of
You
the
want-
worst defenses in the league, right?
Right, but you want
Point
the best
differential,
offenses. It's
Brian.
a point differential. So you want a low scoring defense
And
and
a
a
high-scoring
high-scoring offense. You want good on both sides of the ball. You want
Strike
to try
for
to
him.
get
I thought we were
No.
looking for the biggest gap
No,
between
give him
point
a
scoring,
strike.
point. Whatever. Go
Give him a
fuck yeah.
strike.
Fuck
Give him
you.
a strike.
You made the most confusing fucking question. in the
No,
world.
I understood it
they
perfectly.
get it.
I was ready to go.
Rance, show them how it is, how it's done.
Saints.
Saints are on this list. They have a 7.3 point per game difference there.
Okay.
Kitty.
I'll go Steelers.
Steelers are number 1 at 12.4.
Gross.
Brian, you understand? You know what you're looking for here?
Give me the fucking Chiefs, Josh.
Chiefs are number 2 at 10.7.
I think he gets it now.
I think he's got it. Okay,
Fucker.
fantastic. Back to Rance.
Oh, give me the Colts. They got to be in there somewhere.
Colts are number 5 at 6.8. Kitty.
I'm going to go with the Chiefs' opponent this week in Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay are number 7 at 6.1. Well done. Back to Brian.
Don't think the shit. How about the Packers?
Packers,
They
number
scored
9.
a ton of points.
5 points different per game. Have had a decent defense the last few weeks as well.
Yeah.
Rance.
Don't say the Panthers.
The Bills. Buffalo.
Bill's not on here, no. That's your
Ooh.
first option.
Hmm. Okay.
Not on there. Back to Kitty.
I'm going to go with the LA Rams.
Rams are number 8 on this at 5.1. Kitty's sitting pretty. No options yet. Brian, you got 3 teams left.
God dang.
Rolling through these.
I feel like the Seahawks are frauds. They're probably like almost net zero, even though they've got a great record. Shit. We know the Falcons are frauds, even though Josh wanted them to win this year. NFC East has to be completely out of the running of this conversation.
You would think.
Yeah, everyone getting worked.
It's interesting.
Unless there was some blowout victories by some teams just to really help their differential.
How about the Browns, Josh?
No, it's not
Damn it.
on there.
Oh, stinky cheese.
Mm-hmm.
Option number 2.
Yep.
Rance. His head hurts, apparently.
Well, I'm trying to think of some other decent teams, but some of those teams have not very good defenses. Christ. God, is the Dolphins on there?
Dolphins are on here. Yep.
Nice.
Number
Good poll,
6.2. And I would say that's probably the hardest team on this list. I'd say that's probably right. Good pull.
All
2
right.
left. Kitty is spotless
gonna-
right now.
I'm going to try the Baltimore Ravens.
Ravens are number 4 at 7.3. Actually tied for 3rd. Yeah.
Nice done.
One down to one.
How about the Tennessee Titans, Josh?
Not on this list.
Okay, I'm out.
You're out. DFA'd.
Just so quick.
Just a quick shutdown, a shut up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Final team. Got 5 options left between the two of you. Rance, what do you got? Pulled the Dolphins. Well, great pull.
Mhm.
Do you have another one in you?
The Cards.
Cardinals is correct at 4.9. Great pull.
Boom.
Nice pull.
Nicely done.
That was a great question, man. I really
That was
liked
good.
that one. That was different.
Yeah. I tried to, I had with college basketball starting up, I was going to ask you guys who had the top 10 in the last Associated Press poll, just to see if you guys can pull it out. But I figured you guys have a little bit more trouble with this. You probably would have got both of those, to be honest with you. Well done. You guys pulled it out. Great job. Let's move on. Waiver Watch waiting game coming up.
Waiver Watch waiting game. Waiver Watch waiting.
We're doing a Thanksgiving version of this as well. The theme, I have an overarching theme on this one here. We all picked out movies or shows with some kind of food in the title. So I'm actually looking forward to this. I sent you all an IMDb list if you needed a little bit of help, and I went through that, and it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun coming through those food titles.
There are so many I've never heard of.
So
I
many.
must
There
have missed that
was.
email.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
You did figure one out, I hope.
I do have a movie. It's Thanksgiving themed, but it's not food title. So
I'll allow it. That's
I have
fine.
that for you. So
That's fine. So let's see. Kitty was the winner of that game, so I guess you would go last. Yeah. Let's do it that way. I'm going to go first
Right.
because I was the loser of it. My food movie from 1997, Good Burger.
Keenan and Kel.
Keenan and Kel, yeah. Sinbad was in it.
goodness gracious.
Home of the Good Burger.
Well,
I'm in.
welcome to Good Burger, home of the Good Burger. Can I take your order?
God on heaven.
All right, I'm in.
Okay.
Let's go with Brian. Let's see. Yeah, Brian was the first one eliminated there. You'll be guessing here first.
This has got to be low. Terrible movie. I'm going to go with Peyton Manning, 18.
18. Okay. Go to Rance.
I went a little bit higher and I put 28%,
28. Okay.
but it has to be horrible.
Okay. It's interesting. Kitty.
I went a little higher. I'm hoping they're just gonna possibly not destroy it since it's mostly
For kids.
teenagers in the movie.
Nick,
So I went
it's a Nickelodeon movie.
Nickelodeon movie. So I went 42%.
Mm-hmm.
I like your reasoning.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping I'm right. I'm probably 12 comes out.
What if I told you that the audience score was a 63?
Oh my God.
I wouldn't be surprised by that because
I don't
Critics
think that
have to
affects the
hate it.
critics.
Yeah.
it's going to be a bunch of teenagers that went and saw and somehow realized what Rotten
Just
Tomatoes
loved
was.
it.
And that was such
Uh-huh.
a great movie.
Well, the critics, you guys are right, very low on it. It was a 32%.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Rance very close. Kitty was very close as well.
Not bad.
So we're going with Brian. Well, Brian, what's your movie or show?
All right. Well, I kind of bend the rules here a little bit because I just thought this would be a fun movie to guess.
Oh,
I'm
we'll
right
just
around.
Ignore all the rules then.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going. It's a drink, Josh. So I'm gonna count it as a food. It was right around the same time as your movie, 1996.
Huh? Hope floats.
Don't be a menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood. Juice, pretty close to.
I mean, I have juice at Thanksgiving dinner all the time.
Yep. Don't. This was with Marlon Wayans.
And Sean Wayans.
Yeah,
yes.
both Wayans brothers.
Oh, shit. This has to be
All right.
hard.
This
You didn't
could
watch
be-
this, Rance?
No, I did. It's just been. I think I was probably 14.
I forgot
So
the
it's
great
been a while.
the great names in it. Sean Wayans was Ashtray. Marlon Wayans was Loke Dog. And the crazy ex-boyfriend was Toothpick.
Toothpick. I was going to say Q-tip, but that's a rapper.
All right, I'm in.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, Josh didn't go last time, so let's start there.
It feels like this is right before critics started hating those type of spoof movies. I only watched this one time. I did laugh at a few good parts. I feel like the critics did like it. I did it barely fresh at 62.
Okay. It's Rants.
I remember laughing when I was younger. I mean, I don't know how much I'd laugh now. I probably would laugh more now. Yeah, I'd probably laugh
Sure.
more now.
Yeah.
I went with 46%.
Rotten score of 46. Kitty, what do you got?
I mean,
I went super low. I went with the old MJ 23.
Ooh.
We are all over the map here, boys.
Ooh-wee.
Yeah.
you'd be disgusted by that movie, I'm sure, Kitty.
I remember
ahead.
seeing parts of it, but I've never seen the whole thing front to back. I mean, I'd probably enjoy it more than you expect me to, Rance. I'm not that much of a Schlansky. I could enjoy some Marlon Wayans and Sean Wayans hijinks.
Well, I think you would because much like Josh's, it's even more popular with the audience.
Mhm.
Audience had it at 80%.
Oh my God.
Greatest movie ever. Oscar worthy.
Critics, not
Had
so
to
much.
hate it then. They
Not
had
so
to hate
much.
it.
They come in with a Priest Holmes 31.
Oh,
That hurts. That hurts.
that is
We've got
a
a ball
big
game.
differential. When you're
That's-
doing point differential, that's big.
Yep.
It is.
Now we're talking good offense and bad defense, or
I don't know.
okay.
Who knows? Who knows anymore, Brian? I
Oh,
think
that's funny.
we are on to rants.
Well, Josh, I tried to really follow your rules on this
I
one,
appreciate
unlike
it.
Brian.
Thank you for
And
that.
I went with one of my, I really enjoyed this movie when I was younger, and I went with Blue Chips.
Oh yeah, love that movie.
I went with Blue Chips. Nick
Uh-huh.
Nolte, that opening scene is dynamite when he flies into the locker room, lights him up, Neon Bedeau, Ricky Rowe. It's great. Love it.
I'm
Was
in.
it- That was 2 out of your 5 starting lineups that you drafted back in the day, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they can't touch an Avengers, but not bad.
All right, I'm
True.
in.
I'm in as well.
All right. Where are we starting? Who's going first here?
I think I'm in last currently. So me, I think.
Okay. All right.
Feel like this is Nolte did great. I
Yep.
feel like Shaq did really good too.
Some great
Um,
cameos. Calbert Cheney, Rex Walters.
Penny Hardaway, terrible actor. Whoever that white dude was, also
Yep.
very bad.
That's right.
But Shaq
Yep.
and Nolte were very good, and Nolte's wife, I remember being really, really good character as well. But
Mhm.
I feel like at the end of the day, sports movies, these nerds, critics will not like sports movies. I think like they're always, especially basketball and football, they'll always tear it down. So I'll say 56%,
Okay.
with the audience score being like 74, something like
Ooh,
that.
going both out.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm calling both those shots. On to, let's see. I think it is Brian.
I'm right there with you. I really enjoyed the movie. I think there's going to be some critics that did like it, but I still think it's going to trend just rotten. And I'm going to go 50, right in the middle.
Okay.
50.
I was
Okay.
really close to both of you, and I went with 60. Kind of the
Mhm.
same reasoning there. I just don't. No matter, it could be a great movie, and I still say, it's a sports movie.
Yeah.
It's not a Field of Dream sports movie. It's a
Right.
little more real sports movie, so they don't
Yep.
like it as much.
It's not a
DK,
feel
what
good.
what did you say again? I'm sorry.
I had 50.
50.
Josh, you had 56.
Yep.
Well, guys, the critics did not like this movie much at all.
Oh, no.
They did not enjoy it.
Are we talking
Uh,
30s here?
You're talking Street Fighter 2, Legend of Chun Li.
We're not talking. We're not
digits.
talking. We're
7.
not talking Chung Li numbers. We're not
Okay,
getting
so-
into Chung Li numbers.
We're at
Talking
least in double
Balto?
digits.
But we're talking.
Togo.
Critics thought this movie was at a 37%.
Ooh,
Oh,
wee.
no.
37%.
Well, do you know what that audience score was?
Well, I'm looking at it right now. I did not write down the audience score, but I'm going to get it for you.
Okay.
If you got a second.
Yep. Everybody stall. Everybody stall.
That's brutal.
51
That
with
is
the audience,
Weak shit.
51. There you
Yep.
go.
Wow.
which is what a disappointment that is.
What a tough
is.
crowd on the audience.
Yep, 51% on the audience. God, and they had cameos. Bob Cousy was in it. Some great coaches was in it. I mean,
Bob Knight was in
Bob
it, right?
Knight,
yeah,
yeah.
Bobby Knight was
That's
in
right.
it too. Yep.
That's a real shame.
Sorry.
It's a real shame. Kitty, I think we got
All
a pretty tight battle here still.
I think it's close. I think Rance is in good shape here.
I'm not. Somehow food movies escaped my peripherals, apparently.
I'm within 8 of Rance, so I got a
Yep.
chance.
Well, they don't have a movie out there called Pork Fat.
Pork
So
fat.
you'd be right on it.
Be right there in it. Kitty,
Uh-huh.
what did you bring to the table? 2
So-
guys, a girl, and a pizza place.
I went with a pretty recent movie that's centered around a Thanksgiving meal with a young couple that doesn't agree with their parents politically, and there's kind of a
Oh,
fun talk about that went with The Oath from 2018. Well, Ike Barinholtz, Tiffany Haddish.
Tiffany Haddish, yeah.
Oh no.
So this came out 2018, height of Trump season.
The
So-
Oath. Right.
Parents and the family members were big Trumpers, and then the
Did
boyfriend
it
and
take
girlfriend
like a
come home.
patriot oath or something?
Yeah, I had to sign some oath at the dinner table or something to not.
Was this movie in theaters or is this a straight
It
to?
went straight to streaming, I think.
Probably went straight to streaming. Be my guess.
Well, I'm sure critics loved it because nobody else probably watched it. So
Tiffany
man, I
Haddish was
think-
hot in the streets.
yeah, she's
She's
very
still
popular.
still got quite. Is she doing? What's she
Not
doing?
much
The reboot of Kids Say the Darndest Things right now.
Oh, that was she's
Last
okay.
time I saw her with.
Might as well.
I'm in.
Yep.
Okay,
All right. I'm not sure who's in what place.
Rance
I'm
in
in
first.
last.
I'm in first right now. Yeah.
Yep.
So we'll start with Josh then.
Yep. This was not good. I'm not going to treat it like it was good. I feel like both the audience and the critics probably hated this. I went with a critic score of Joe Montana, Kansas City, 19.
Oh
You
my
saw
God.
it, Josh?
No, but I never wanted to, and that's usually says plenty. It's usually like a movie that seems way too artsy for me, so I'm not in, or it just seems so bad, and I'm usually right in those rounds. So 19.
Wow.
All right.
Okay.
Let's go to BK.
All right, Josh. I mean, I kind of followed your logic of what you said before you said your number, but I went a completely different direction. I
Oh
think
my.
this was right in Haddish's heyday. Everyone loved her. I think the critics would love the concept of this. They love the idea of it. It gets way overinflated. It was probably a trash movie, but I think they bumped it way up. Give me a 78 with the critics.
Got some big spread there. Something happening now. Where is Rance going to fall?
Cooking.
I tried to. I don't know.
Try to get in my
Tiffany
head.
Haddish, I know, is really popular. A lot of people love her. I've never heard of this movie, which I'm not really big into movies, but usually when nobody hears of movies, critics love those movies. They love them.
Yeah.
When nobody's heard of them, nobody's watched them, they love them. So I put down 70%.
Oh my.
All right.
I think I
Let's
should have got closer
see.
to that, probably.
So, audience score 40.
Uh-oh.
Yep.
Well, that could mean the critics love.
Yeah. I mean, your logic
And
is
the
right there.
Critics come in very close to Rance with a 63.
Oh.
Oh, he takes the victory.
Big win for Rance.
Kitty barely lost though.
I had myself at 41. What was
Oh,
Rance
yep.
end up with?
You
I had
edged
42.
Brian out. Yep.
Yep. Josh with almost triple digits.
Yep. The oath.
Oh,
I lost it on the oath, apparently. I had a really bad week. No big deal. But I'm going to be
Only
going
1
last on the waiver wire. Well, that's good stuff. I
That
do.
was fun. That was fun. I like the topic.
We might need to do more themes because I like the way you guys think, where it's just kind of outside the box, but it kind of gets us in a direction that I think that goes well. So I'll try to do some more themes instead of just randomly doing it from now on. I like that idea. Let's get into the waiver wire. We're running behind.
Watch your waiver wire.
So the waiver wire draft this week, with Thanksgiving coming in hot, we need to be a little bit thankful when you get with the season. And we're going to draft some things that we are thankful for. And I need to preface this. I'm taking some things off the table. Our friends and our family, we love you all right off the bat. You're not going to get picked here, but we love you all anyways.
Still love you.
Item number 2, all the sink pissers. We love each and every one of you. You're not going to be in this draft, but we love you. Item number 3, the essential employees. I mean, we love you all. You're not in this draft. We're not doing that. We're just going to go forward with some things that we are thankful for right now. The order of the waiver wire draft is going to be based off of the waiver watch waiting game, the finishing on that. So Rance, you'll be picking first, followed by Kitty, then Brian, then myself. So Rance, 101. What are you the most thankful for this year?
All right, fellas. This was my first thing I wrote down, and it's not really sappy. I don't want to get in the sappy part of it, but I'm really thankful for having a good dog.
Oh,
A good dog. We've had Zeke, our golden doodle, for 4 years. When the wife don't want to see you, when the kid don't want to have nothing to do with you, there's that one loyal, and that's the dog, and he's never going to let you down.
Yeah.
It don't matter what you do, he's going to come up to you. He's going to want to be petted. He wants to hang out. Good dog. I'm thankful for a good dog.
That's a very good pick.
Good boy.
Very good. Let's go with what I say.
Kitty.
Kitty?
Kitty, I am up. So over these last, what is now 8 months here, lots of turmoil, lots of stuff up in the air with school, with daycare, all stuff like that. So I am thankful I never got anyone pregnant.
Oh my God.
Is that a recurring like thankful
Every single day I wake up, woo, still good. Still, I'm not getting anyone pregnant. So
No
I'm
stress.
feeling good about that right now with these last 8 months. It just seems like a nightmare scenario every day of the week. So I'm thanking my stars.
We need a hidden camera at your family Thanksgiving, and everyone goes around the house, around the table, saying what they're thankful for, and you drop that bomb on your mom and dad.
Oh, that's great.
I would
That's
love
funny.
to watch that.
That's we got another reality TV show to pitch
Yep.
somebody. We're just gonna start our own channel and we're just gonna fill it up.
Oh,
with-
that's a great one.
Uncharted.
Do the just blind reactions to ridiculous commentary.
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's funny.
It's gonna be
Yeah.
like punked on our own families every year.
Impractical Jokers will have some competition during March
True.
Madness.
I mean,
Finally, a new show to watch on True TV.
True TV, holler at your boys. Clearing Waivers podcast has got some ideas.
Uh-huh. I like that pick.
Brian,
I love how we go from a dog to not getting anybody pregnant.
we've got priorities on this podcast, and they're coming through hot.
Yep. And my first pick, I mean, it pops right to the front of my brain. How could it not? My first pick I'm grateful for is Patrick LaVon Mahomes.
Yep, that was my number one as well.
I mean, the fact that we already know, too, that we're going to have this guy for so long, basically his entire career. I mean, it's just such a relief because Kansas City sports fans have never felt this as far as in our lifetimes. maybe if you grew up in the George Brett days, maybe you had that feeling of you had that guy you could always count on that's going to win the game for you. But I was too young during that time. It didn't really mean anything to me. Joe Montana was kind of a thing when I was a kid and kind of paying attention to Chiefs games, but he was kind of way past his prime. He was a guy that you loved having confidence in the end of the game, but he wasn't our guy. He was San Francisco's guy that we got at the end of his career. Patrick Mahomes is our guy, and he'll always be our guy. And to have that feeling, to know that you're never out of a football game for the next 15 years, is just a crazy concept to think about. And so I'm so thankful, so much gratitude to have Patrick LeVon Mahomes in the Chiefs uniform for majority of his career, let's say.
You're gonna make me tear up.
Yeah, I think my list was different
Dusty in
on
here.
Sunday. My list was different Sunday at noon than it is now.
It probably happened about more like 2:30, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
I started drinking already, so
ACLs,
Time is-
MCLs, or
time is a
not
blur.
thankful. Yep, it's a flat circle. I went with Patrick Mahomes, my 101. I did similar with my second pick here, and I went Andy Reid because
Okay.
Patrick Mahomes would probably be great with another system, and Andy Reid is a quarterback guru. So I feel like we could have brought anybody in that's not named Dak Prescott and
Whoa!
been
Just
Whoa!
unnecessary shots.
Wow!
That's just so fun. That's just a fun ribbing for
I
you,
mean, I
Rance.
don't even understand what's going on here.
Well, I feel like he could have done a lot with a lot less quarterback. I mean, we were riding Alex Smith for a long time, and he's a great dude, great story, but he was not our favorite quarterback. He's not a Patrick Mahomes. But Andy Reid could have done a lot with less quarterback. So I'm thankful for Andy Reid being in Kansas City, and he just got extended, so he'll be here for another while.
I like that.
My next,
Rance kind of rolled his eyes. I don't know if he was.
I don't. That's just it was just
I'm
so
just
uncalled
thinking
for.
of the Prescott. Just move on.
he's just reflecting on the sick burn I just laid on him.
Well, he rolled his eyes as soon as you said Andy Reid, like he.
No, I
Oh.
didn't.
Oh, well, check the tape.
Well, we're just gonna hear wax poetic about
Jesus.
Chiefs. My next pick is Brett Veach. No, I'm just kidding. My next pick is just being able to work from home. It's
God.
we spent a whole episode on it with the fake Ned. That was a great waiver wire draft for all the perks of working from home, and that should in and of itself justify why it's so great. I haven't used a set of headphones in 6 months. I just listen to whatever I want to. I laugh as loud as I want to. I
Yeah.
take bathroom breaks in my own bathroom. I mean, it's just perk after perk after perk after perk. I love it. Give me working from home all day, every day.
You can sit there and curse out your computer when it's not acting right, and no one's going to
Uh-huh.
look at you funny.
Yep.
Always a nice bonus of working from home.
Yep.
Damn
Very,
it.
very good.
That was on my list.
Yeah, that's a
You
good. That
took-
was on 3 of our lists, I think.
Yeah.
I didn't want to say I'm grateful for COVID.
Well, I didn't go there, Brian.
Huge mistake.
Huge mistake. We just got super canceled. Brian, what's your next pick?
I am so thankful that sports leagues didn't listen to the haters and the pessimists and the losers that all said, as we started to come up with these plans, they said, why do you even come up with plans? You cannot play during a pandemic. What are you doing? Shut it down. We continue to play.
Shut it down.
There'd be a flare up of tests, and it would be like, oh, shut it down. And they said,
Tapper
shut up.
comes in.
Shut up, nerds. And and the fucking
Shut up, nerds.
the fucking sports journalists were kind of running this thing, and they would just be like so snarky with their tweets and shit when positives would come out. They'd be like, you guys thought you could play blah 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 blah, and then they started getting defensive because everyone started coming back at them and said, you guys didn't want to play sports this season. And they said, and then they come in and say, I can't believe people think a sports journalist wouldn't want sports to be played. And it was this big back and forth. And it was like, you know what you fucking did. You put out those smart, snarky ass tweets saying they shouldn't be playing and it's unethical that they're playing sports right now when there's a pandemic going on. You know what you fucking did. Even if you weren't rooting for sports to not be played, you know what you fucking did. So shut up. There got to be a time when you knew a select few of people when a new story would break and it would be like Notre Dame came out and they have 5 positives in their program. You knew a certain cluster of sports journalists were going to retweet that and add a snarky comment.
Told you so.
When news would come out and say Michigan had 350 tests, 0 positives, you knew that same group not going to retweet that one because they're only going to retweet the stuff that supports their prediction that they shouldn't play sports this year. So even though you weren't rooting for sports not to be played, you were rooting to be right. And that's what we're all a bunch of narcissists and we always want to be right. So I was so glad the sports continued on because the last few months would have been so miserable if we didn't have some sports to play. Because we went from March to July with no
Pretty
sports.
bad.
My God, that was rough. So I'm just so thankful that they kept going on. It's still a work in progress. We're still making schedules up as we go, but they're trying to make it work. And I'm just thankful that they're actually trying to make it work.
We'd be on like Shenanigans 30 if they didn't have any sports going on.
That's true. It'd be polling. It'd be struggling for content at this point.
New game. What number am I thinking of? Rants, go.
Right hand or left hand?
I think we're back to Kitty.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Something I've realized what's freaking amazing during these last 8 months is no touch grocery store pickup.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Good one.
I can order my $80 of groceries online, drive up to the parking lot, pop my trunk, get it loaded and take off. Yeah, I'm in. This is awesome.
Yep.
This is the
When
greatest
it's
thing.
you got to time it though, right? Because we've hit a couple 5 o'clock on Friday nights. That was a poor choice. Don't do that.
Yeah, that's not going to be a great one. No, I
Don't
usually
do
do
that.
Yeah, well, that's the other perk of working from home. I'm doing that stuff at 9, 10 a.m.
Yeah, true. That's probably
down
prime
there.
time. Yeah.
Just throw $5 or $10 in the trunk for the person bringing the groceries out for a nice little tip for them, and boom, good to go.
I probably need to do that more. I haven't done that ever, and I do that. Yeah,
Just,
I need to do that more.
It's that my time that I save by not having to walk through the grocery store is definitely worth $5 or $10 every time I go pick up groceries.
Valid point. Definitely need to start doing that.
Target does that too. Bring it right to your trunk.
Yep. Home Depot does it. We got 3
You got
toilets.
groceries from Home Depot.
Well, we got 3
I don't usually buy my groceries.
close. We got toilets.
Oh,
And that poor bastard loaded 3 toilets in the back of our van by himself.
Because you've blown them all out or what? I get 1 toilet, but 3? Jesus, man.
They got all match apparently.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they
Did
do.
you get? Hopefully, there's a bidet on those things.
No, well, I have been looking at Christmas gifts for some bidet attachments because I'm very interested in those.
It's worth it.
Do you have one?
No, one of the places I dog sit has one, and it's the best 4 or 5 days I have of the year.
And you use it just when.
I
That's interesting.
I drink so much coffee at that house just to make sure I go to the bathroom more often.
I thought you were gonna say you're gonna drink so much water from that bidet attachment. Time you dog sit for him. That's a weird hygiene thing.
why?
Not according to Schlansky. Every other country uses them except for the United States.
That's right.
We're
They
keeping the
should.
toilet paper industry alive by ourselves in this country. Let's get those guys out
I
of here.
mean, those people aren't the ones just grabbing all the toilet paper at the Costco's. So bidets
right.
might be a water shortage in a decade, but at least you got some clean assholes.
That's right.
And that's what really matters, right?
That's really what matters. Yes. Yep. Rants. What do you got?
Man, it's hard to top some of these. I just wrote, getting back in school and teaching face to face and then teaching online and doing lessons at night. I'm really thankful now for the weekend. I think I've always taken the weekend for granted. But once Friday evening hits all the way into Sunday night, I am so thankful for the weekend now. I think I've always taken it for granted. Not anymore. I mean, I really enjoy those weekends.
That's a good one.
So,
Great
Yep.
pull.
That's
Very
solid.
good.
Yeah.
That's
the
going to
one
be
thing.
It's a universal.
Yeah, don't kind of for people that have to go to work or are still actually going to an office and stuff. Yeah, like the weekends mean a lot more to them now than they do to us
Mhm.
it means
layabouts
a
that work
lot.
from home for 5 days a week now.
Yeah, I mean, inversely, you work from home, the Sunday scaries don't hit nearly as hard as they used to.
Right there
Not
with
even
you.
close. Yep.
You can get you can have a lot more adult beverages on Sunday when you know you're just sitting on your
Yep.
couch on Monday morning all day.
It's a lot less pressure when you know people won't have to look you in the eye.
Yep. Yep. I can
You're
still
wearing
do my
sun-
work.
You're wearing sunglasses on your Zoom calls on Monday mornings.
Uh-huh. Rants on the turn. What do you got for your third pick?
My third pick, I put, for those weekends when I'm watching football, keeping up with my fantasy football, I'm thankful for a nice, comfortable, lazy boy chair.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
We bought a new recliner there about a year ago, and it's just, from about 11 to about 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, I really don't move from that spot unless, to take care of the little one or something. And very comfortable.
Kitty, I've got a question. Do you have a Lazy Boy recliner?
I sure do.
Okay. I was trying to figure out if that was just a like a dad thing that a dad always has to, but I usually record from a couch, right?
Yeah, I'm on the couch. It's a little easier to set my phone up to get a video that way.
Also not fall asleep in.
Yeah, but the Lazy Boy, I've got one of those, and as I had told a coworker, I've put plenty of ass miles on that chair this last 8 months.
7 months, yeah.
I mean, I'm basically sitting in that chair almost constantly,
Uh-huh.
working from home in it a lot of times. So I'll move to the couch once in a while, but for the most part, that Lazy Boy has been the greatest thing in my life the last 10 months.
Uh-huh. Pretty clutch.
So
I like
Ramsey, took one of mine from me.
Mm-hmm. That's a pretty solid turn. You got two universally loved, and that's never a thing on this podcast. Usually we have some kind of shit talk on something, but not this time. Not this time. Kitty.
One of the things I've learned about myself, I'm a great barber. Giving myself home haircuts for the last 6 months. Killing it.
You're grateful for your own skills.
Exactly.
In your own mind, you're a great barber.
I am thankful for this new
Look at
fresh
that.
do I've been going with for the last.
That.
I can't really. The only now I got to worry if I want to trim the top or not. If I can figure out how to do that in a good manner, or just have to buzz it back down again and then let it grow out. But the sides and the back are immaculate every time I cut
Damn
this thing,
Euro soccer player trash.
Exactly. I was looking at the other day. I felt like I looked like that the bad kid from Doug, like Roger.
Oh yeah,
Roger
yeah.
Klotz?
Get you a leather jacket. Let's go.
You want to slick
Exactly.
it back like real tight.
Uh-huh.
Like something out of Peaky Blinders or something.
Yeah,
Really
ooh.
slick
Yeah,
it back.
Oh, that's right. I don't have a whole lot of gel at the house. I might have to pick some up there to do some fun experiments. at home.
Paste. I think you could do with a little hair paste.
Probably
good.
Sure. Yep.
The dentist from Mighty Ducks D2.
Just get a little. Let's go find some Dapper Dan out in the stores. Get that
The
thing.
dentist?
What was the Scotland's coach? He had his hair split.
Iceland. What? Did you even
Iceland.
watch that movie?
Iceland.
What are you fucking talking about?
Wasn't he the dentist?
The dentist. I don't know what that means.
That's his nickname?
Why? What does it do?
I'm no help in this.
Yeah,
He's
I
in
don't know.
mind.
He's a dirty hockey player. I don't know what the
Never
dentist has anything to do with that.
That was his nickname, Brian's claiming.
Well, it's
Probably
not
way
true.
off there.
Probably because he knocks teeth out or something, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's a dirty
Probably-
player, but he's not a big hitter, I don't think.
He probably kept
The
all the
coach?
teeth he knocked out.
Yes. And it's Iceland, not Scotland. you
I
dumbass.
understand. I got
Unbelievable.
you.
Come
That's
on.
a pivotal Disney villain is the team from Iceland, and unbelievable.
What's his
Scotland's-
name?
I don't know.
Pivotal.
Not Yul Brynner.
No, it's not you.
Thanks. Was that a Cool Runnings
Cool Runnings.
impression?
Yul Brynner.
We're off the rails.
Senka. You dead? Brian, bring us back around on the third.
Get us back on track.
Number 3 pick. I'm grateful for Sesame Street, guys.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good one.
This is like having a video game cheat code. When a video game just keeps beating you up and wearing you down, you can punch in those codes, and it's a lot easier to live your life. You put on Sesame Street, and those eyeballs just cling to the TV, and then you can just write it off as, hey, this is educational. They're learning something watching this TV right now. Oh, are we going to watch a second episode? Well, how can I stop them from learning how to count?
Yep.
I mean, let's just go again and let Daddy scroll on Twitter and get mad.
Let Dad rage scroll while you watch that. another freaking retweet. What is going on here?
Yeah, Elmo, we get it. God. That is the letter of the day. H. Fantastic. Hey, letter of the day.
Another hater.
Uh-huh.
So Sesame Street's going to be my 3 pick.
Yep, that's a good one.
That's a good one.
My third pick is, depending on the device you use, you're either in dark mode, private mode, or incognito mode when you're surfing the internet. Not going to say what it's for, but recently I used it because I watched the American Murder Story on Netflix, and I was telling Brian not to. I was like, it reminds me of that other dad who killed his wife and pregnant. So I had to Google dad kills mother, pregnant mother, and I didn't necessarily want that in my Google history.
Yep.
Because I just watched a murder case, so I didn't necessarily want that in my Google history. So I went a little incognito mode for that Google search.
That's a good
Was
pick.
that Scott Peterson?
Scott Peterson was the original one, yeah. This
God, I
one,
couldn't watch hardly any of that. That made
that
me
American
sick.
Murder Story was worse, way worse.
And what is that? What is that?
It's on
Oh.
Netflix. It's just a hour and 15 minutes of basically the same thing, where the dad was messing around on the side and the wife.
Oh, was that the guy in
Disappeared.
Colorado?
Yes,
Recent case, yeah.
That's the one I'm talking about. Yeah.
that
Yeah, and then
is
just,
brutal.
It's
Yeah.
terrible because
I
especially
couldn't
when
watch that.
he's just acting like he doesn't. I don't know what you're talking about. Just
Yeah, that
wild.
was sick.
I'm devastated too.
The other
Gee, that's
thing about those is, like, usually when they do that, it's like long and drawn out by like weeks and weeks. And they you got this dude to confess like 4 days later. he folded like a cheap suit, but it was brutal to watch. So I did spoil it there for you, so in hopes that anybody who hasn't seen it doesn't, because it's awful. So
It's
a real
good, but it's
buzzkill.
awful. No, it's not. I've heard it's very good, but
It's cool because all the footage, like it's a documentary, all the footage is either through like the Facebook social media life or like police interviews or body cams or something like that. So you see like the actual like cop arriving, interviewing everything. You see the confession through the stuff. So they did it really cool. They didn't do any like interviews like they do in like Unsolved Mysteries and stuff. So it's really well done that way, but the story is just awful.
Yeah. Yep.
So to come off of that, this one was a late edition, and it's a little bit more of a pick me up tonight. Boys, we got Long John Silver's tonight, and it was the first time we had it in probably like 3 years.
all right.
You get any cracklins?
They left out all the cracklins. Not thankful
Oh
for that.
my God.
But Long John Silver's has changed their hush puppy policy, because guys, I got 6 hush puppies in my meal tonight. 6 little
Did you eat 'em
balls
all?
of bread. No, because boy, after 2.5, 3 years of respite from that grease, I only made it through 2 of those hush puppies before I was feeling great. I used to have a better tolerance to that grease trap than I currently do. But I am very thankful for their changing of the hush puppy policy. They're getting real generous with their hush puppies in 2020. So shout out Long John Silver's, not an ad.
I'll be damned.
Nice.
Very nice.
Won't be having that again anytime soon. My tum tum is doing rolly
Turning
rolls.
nuts. That's
Yep.
why you got 3 new toilets.
That's right. They're not going to get a workout other than holding my fat body on them regularly, because they're not going to have to work to get anything down this time.
Oh god.
Is that too much information? Let's move on. Brian, bail me out of this.
All right. So you took my work from home option. So I'm going to go with I am thankful that we don't have those 100-year-old oak trees in our yard
Uh-huh.
because this time of year, when we go on walks in the evening with the dog and the kid, I see the same poor old bastards out in their yards raking night after night after night
Yeah.
after night. And it makes me depressed watching them they can't keep their yard clean. They just have to keep filling up those fucking bags.
Yeah.
And it's just depressing. And it just makes me thankful that I don't have those big ass trees in my yard. I've got a tree. I just mowed over it this year. Just mowed it. It's just going to be in the earth. I didn't
Mulched.
even bag up shit. So
Yep.
I'm just thankful I don't have those big trees that just drop leaves for weeks.
I did it last weekend, and my front yard alone got me 28 bags.
God.
Oh my God.
Thank God. I was thankful for leaf blowers. That was on my list. So
That's when you blow them into the neighbor's yard. That's what I accidentally did
Yep.
when we lived.
You do it. In ours, you can blow it in the street because then it's on the city.
Right, there you go.
That's even better.
It's bad
Yep.
for the sewer system.
Well, I don't care.
Well, they destroy gutters, all them leaves too. You guys got
Yeah.
up there and cleaned your gutters out.
Nope. I need to do that. I haven't done that. They're probably in really bad shape. Home Depot probably sells gutters that they could just deliver to my car.
Well, next time it rains, if water's flowing over the top, you probably need to know that you need to get up there and clean it.
There are some of those currently happening, so yeah, need to do that. Kitty, final pick.
I'm gonna go with golf courses being open all summer and till this day still as well. I mean, if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't get any exercise.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's pretty sad
Feels
state of
good, doesn't
affairs.
it?
Yeah, it really does. It feels good and horrible at the same time. I know the impending problems that lack of doing anything will cause, but it feels good to do absolutely nothing. So it's a real catch-22. What am I
Sure.
supposed to do? Work out? Come on now. That's crazy
Right.
talk.
Absolutely
So,
not.
you know, getting out. I mean, I should probably embrace cart path only days more than I do, but no, I want to drive right to my ball. Walk
Yep.
walk about 10 steps total, hit and get back in the car.
Mhm.
Especially if you got a buddy that has a cart that's been pimped your
Insulated.
ride.
Yeah.
Yeah, that heater has a nice touch.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's a little bit of a COVID death chamber, but it's a nice and warm in there.
COVID.
You can trust your buddy that you're golfing with that he's been safe over the last week since you'd seen him last, and you're
True.
good to go.
Yeah. Yep. I like it. Rance, bring us home with your final pick.
All righty. I've always enjoyed these, but we got one last spring, and with all the COVID and the quarantine, and just really come to really be thankful for it, enjoy it more. And that's a nice propane fire pit.
Yeah. Yep.
Just to be able to sit out there of an evening, even when it's not real warm, 55, 60 degrees. That night when the Chiefs played the Patriots on a Monday night, we sat out there all night, watch the game around the fire. I mean, I could just stare in that thing for hours, have a few drinks. It's just, I don't know, something relaxing. It's great to gather around, have some drinks, have a good time. So I've been pretty thankful we've had one of those.
Yeah.
It's been very enjoyable. So
I think that's solid.
Yep.
Yeah, those 55-degree nights, you're like, oh, I don't need a fire, but then once you put one on, you get that's that little bit of heat that just feels fantastic.
And the thing about the propane ones, if you ever do get one, they just put out enough heat to keep you warm. Like
Yep.
they don't get so blazing hot where you're done and you have to go inside. I mean, you can sit out there and have a blanket, and there's no smell.
Doesn't smoke you out like a fire pit.
Doesn't smoke you out.
Yeah.
There's no smoke. I mean, if you're willing to pay for the propane every time, it's worth it.
Yeah. True story. Well, that's going to conclude the waiver wire draft there. We got to get rolling here. We don't want to get too far over 2 hours here. But yeah, we do appreciate everything that we mentioned, as well as all the people that we prefaced it with, our friends and family and the essential personnel. We appreciate all your hard work and dedication. You'll be in our thankful prayers around the table this year as well, I'm sure. Let's get into the final shenanigan of the week hesitantly, and I'll explain why that's the case here pretty soon. Hey, it's the best bet. Hey, it's the best bet. Best bet. And I say hesitantly because, fellas, in the last 2 weeks, we have gotten 2 out of the 8 bets correct. Not great.
Water finds its level, Josh.
It does find its level. Tucker's bet, he did the bet for Brant's the previous week, Miami -2.5, and it hit. That was the only one that we were able to do. Even Kitty tried to make up for some of his losses with the old
Right.
DeChambeau bet, and that didn't work out either.
Awful.
Last week, he was the only one who won the bet last week with a Washington -1.5.
And I have apparently cursed my team with that bet, so
Yep.
good job.
Sure did. Sure did. But, they always say when you're in a cold streak, you got to shoot yourselves out of it, which is what we did with the Thanksgiving Day slate, which has broken the ice for our best bets for the week. Rance, you haven't been around to make your best bet for a while, so why don't you give us your best bet for this week?
I was looking at a lot of the lines, and there wasn't a lot of games that I liked out there. I got off to a decent start at the beginning of the year, but have struggled there the last couple.
Mhm.
But I took Tennessee. I took Tennessee at Indianapolis at +3.5. I think the Colts, I know they're both coming off big wins. I don't know that Rivers can play a couple good games in a row. I mean, Colts, I like I said, I know they're coming off a couple big wins each, but the Colts, a lot of emotion winning that game. I think they're ready. I mean, it's for the division. Tennessee got rolled at home by Indianapolis last time.
Yes,
I
they
think
did.
they come into this game fired up. Winner leads the division. I'm going to take Tennessee. It's going to be real close, but I think they're going to cover for sure. I think they're going to
3.5
win
points is a
outright.
lot. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say 3.5 points for that game is quite a bit.
Yeah. Getting
And they
past
could
that
win it
key
outright.
number.
Yep. I think that's a really good pick.
Yep.
Let's go with the winner last week. Kitty, what's your best bet for the week?
I almost took Tampa Bay. Very close.
Oh boy.
3.5, like a lot to me. I see that being a field goal game, so I kind of
Yeah,
really
true.
wanted to pick Tampa. Just again, like you guys said earlier, with the offensive and defensive woes for the Chiefs. But stay away from that. Don't want to enrage the St. Pisters out there and the co-hosts.
I've
So
already done that with
instead-
my Waller praise.
That's true. So instead, I went with got a week of tape on old Taysom Hill. Give me the Broncos +6 at home against the Saints.
Okay.
Taysom Hill is going to put 2 games together. My ass. That dude's trash. I mean, that he throws a deep ball that should have gone. It was supposed to go 55 yards, goes 40 and completes it. Like, what is happening?
Sure.
Yeah, that was unbelievable. That play.
Now that you've got tape on a guy, I think Denver's defense is still really good. So I can
Yeah.
see them holding their own against the Saints. Offense obviously will struggle, but I'm seeing a low scoring game, maybe a 17-14, 17-13 type game. So
Yeah.
those points.
Totally makes sense. I think I've made a comment on the chat about it, but it seems like every time that Brady or Breeze is in the primetime game, everybody's ready to talk about how washed they are. And then that first quarter when Taysom Hill got out there, everybody was like, "Oh, I can't watch this anymore. Give me Jameis Winston, blah, blah, blah." And then Taysom Hill put up a pretty damn good game.
Yeah, he did.
He did.
Helps
Yep.
he can run for 2 touchdowns. He's got that. He's basically a poor man's Lamar
Sure.
Jackson right now.
Or maybe he's Tim Tebow. Maybe.
Yeah.
We'll see. Maybe
I didn't think he ran enough.
Yeah. Right. Give him the Wildcat. Let's go. But it's just like maybe everybody slow down. You don't have to be the first person to take Taysom Hill down a few notches. Just let it marinate a little bit.
But then you can point to your tweet and say, "Look how smart I was."
Look how smart I am. It's
Exactly.
the same people talking about how COVID needs to shut down all sports.
Oh,
Brian,
no.
Yeah.
you want
Oh,
to talk
no.
about that some more?
No.
Brian, what's your best bet for the week?
I'm actually going to go against Kitty's boys this week.
All right.
I'm going with the Giants. They're coming off a bye, laying 5.5. Ryan Finley doesn't even inspire me. I don't think he'll inspire his teammates to play, inspired football. Joe Mixon's out again. He's on the IR. I just feel like this might be a team that's going to fold it up at this point. Giants are still very much in the NFC East, so I think they've got plenty of motivation. Like I said, coming off a bye, I think this could be blowout potential, so I'll gladly lay the 5.5.
Ooh,
Yeah.
blowout.
I mean, I don't see how Finley can lead an offense to enough points. If they get over 17 points, it's a miracle with Finley in there. I think
That's
Giants
what I'm
can do
thinking.
a lot of damage.
True.
And if they start out bad next week, the Bengals in the first quarter or first half, and Finley's in there, and that they're just going to go to the locker room dejected and come out even flatter in the second half. So
right.
I like that pick a lot.
And how about the sentence? The Giants are still very much alive in the East.
That's right. Everyone's alive in that conference. That's
3-7.
the most competitive
Brutal.
division in football.
That's
It
right.
is- It is hilarious to see the graphics about the playoff hunt and all the NFC East teams are in there with like 3-6-1.
Yeah.
They're already talking about who gets the right wild card to play the NFC East.
Right.
Positioning
you want-
teams. That's
It
crazy.
is an embarrassment.
The second, third, and fourth place teams in the NFC East are like a game out of first place of making the playoffs, but also like if they don't win that, they still get a top 5 pick in the draft.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. I did see that too. That's nuts.
I mean, that's win-win if I've ever seen it.
Yep.
Not too shabby. I'm kind of surprised. My pick this week, I'm kind of surprised no one took it here. But I went with Seattle -5 against Philadelphia on Monday Night Football. I think Seattle's going to absolutely dominate them. 5 points. I think it's going to be double digits. Every time I say that, it's a very close game, and the favorite barely squeaks it out. So I'm still taking Seattle -5. This might be sneaky cheese, but I don't.
That
really,
is
I don't
big
really
time
care.
stinky cheese.
I don't care. I'm biting.
They are
I'm biting.
begging you to take Seattle.
Philadelphia's defense is good. They are good. I think they'll get to Russ, but I don't know.
What's the stronger matchup between the Seattle offense versus that seemingly good Philadelphia defense versus the Philadelphia offense, which is God knows what it is, versus a really bad Seattle defense?
Well, if
Hey,
you're
man.
ever going to get healthy on offense, it's against Seattle Seahawks.
Yep.
Right.
That's
So
why.
this is the week.
Same can be said about playing the Philadelphia offense, though.
That's true.
Because you think you're going to get at least 2 gift wrapped ones from Wentz.
Yep.
I mean, Dallas
100%, whereas
turned him
Brady
over
just-
4 times, and they
Mhm.
don't turn anybody over.
Yep. I think it'll be a primetime ass kicking, but I've said that before, and it's
I hope you're right. I hope you're right.
not turned out well. Well, that's going to do it here for the Cleaning Waivers podcast this week. Maybe just under 2 hours, but I hope you all enjoyed it. If you haven't already, go check out the 1-year anniversary, our favorite moments of the first year episode. We did work pretty hard on that for what it is. But I just enjoyed putting it together, walking down memory lane for that first year. We I praise you sink pissers out there in that episode, but I want to do that again. We are in a season of thankfulness where we are appreciative of every moment that you give us of your attention. But we appreciate you. We love you. Shout out to all my co-hosts this week. I appreciate you guys joining me for this week. But for Brian and Kitty and Rance and myself, ta-ta for now.
The day is done. Now the night has begun. Nerves and rest My page is burning, will all be dead on the virgin snow. I have faith that nobody else can protect you, no. My page is burning, will all be dead on the virgin snow. So hold your body close to the flames. Don't go somebody walking away. Oh, hold your body close to the flames. Don't go somebody walking away. Oh. Hold your body close to the flame.